Hi guys, I'm Lyndley. Welcome to this episode of Stylist Studio. On this episode, I want to chat about another question I've been getting a lot about moving from intern to assistant stylist. So I always like to think about interning is an extension of education in school. So as long as you know everything that you're doing, you're in a position to move from intern to assistant. So this is a question because I know a lot of people usually are working a couple jobs in order to do their internships and make the money work. I was in a position when I was young that I did not have, my parents weren't giving me any money or anything like that. So I had to figure out how to double team it to do internship and free work for people and also figure out how to make money and pay my rent and eat. So I know you have to get creative and by all means do that. Figure out how to make it work. When you should not be doing free work once you know how to do every single job that there is to do as a stylist. So if you know how to do a runway show completely, guide the assistant team, do everything from the dressing to the coordination to the show cards to the images to everything for a runway show. For a commercial job, you know how to shop it, run the budget, do all the expenses, do the receipts, do the presentations for the clients, do creative briefs, do whatever you need to do on a commercial job, dress, set up the backstage or the dressing area, do the fittings, guide the tailoring, do all that kind of stuff. And then on magazine jobs, you have to know how to do requests, you need to know how to do returns, you need to know how to handle and problem solve everything on set, you need to know how to make sure the styling kit is stocked and has everything in it. Once you know how to do, and then for celebrities, same thing, make sure the styling kit has everything you need for that celebrity or event. Once you know how to do every single job technically as an intern, that's when you're going to be ready to move into an assistant position. Now, an assistant position, and any good stylist who has an intern who's fantastic, if they can, they'll take them on as an assistant on their own team as soon as they can. If they already have, if you're interning for someone and you're on a big assistant team and they have a first assistant already, most likely there will not be a first assistant position available for you unless that first assistant leaves. A first assistant is the most important person to a stylist because they're the person who's really handling a majority of the coordination for all the bazillions of jobs you have going on as a stylist at once. So for me, if I have an incredible intern but I can't afford to put them on full time or I can't afford to put them on all of our paying jobs because sometimes you have a lot of people in the mix or there's only a budget for one assistant, then I'll recommend that intern go as a full assistant somewhere else. So once you know all the jobs, you know how to do everything as a stylist, like I should say an assistant stylist, you know how to do everything technically except the creative because that's usually the main stylist position. But you want to know how to do your mood boards, your research, your storyboards, your requests, your returns, shopping, everything. Once you know how to do all of that through and through perfectly without having to be co-managed by another assistant or another stylist, that is when you're ready to be paid. Now, an assistant salary can start anywhere from a full-time salary, which usually starts at $20,000 a year, very, very low. If you're lucky, you get $30,000, $35,000 a year. I rarely heard of someone getting an assistant salary starting higher than that. When you're first starting out, when you move up and you've been assisting for a couple years, which I assisted on and off for 4 or 5 years. So as you start to move up, you can start to get a higher salary depending on how good. And some people always want to be assistants. Some people like the security of the job and want to work for legendary people for the rest of their life, and that's great too. But if you want to, move up in the assistant chain, or if you want to freelance and assist a couple of different stylists, you get a whole bunch of different experiences. That's always a good idea. Editorial rates daily for a assistant stylist usually start at $150 a day, sometimes $100 a day, depending on the magazine. The cooler the magazine, the less the budget. And a lot of the time when I'm working as the main stylist on a magazine out of London or one of the cool big kind of biannuals, there is no budget at all. So you're doing it completely as an assistant for credit, which is great because you want the experience of working with that magazine, and it also lets you look really good to other stylists who may want to go and assist who may do more commercial work. So what you want to focus on is getting in your internship, getting very competent as an assistant or a full-on stylist, at how to do every part of the job, that's when you can start to charge for your work. And again, the starting rate for an assistant is $100 a day. If you're going into a first assistant position, it's $20,000 to $30,000 a year. And you can get bonuses on top of if you get big commercial jobs or whatever. But, and then also if you're working as an assistant, your commercial job, like for lookbooks or editorial, or advertising or advertorial, the rates for an assistant for that usually are $200 a day, up to $300 a day, depending on how big the client is. So those are the rates. That's the whole concept around going from intern to assistant. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next episode of Stylist Studio. Check you later.